Hi there, welcome to Ask Rafah, where your problems are answered. I've got a letter here from somebody who's actually decided to keep her name anonymous, and she doesn't even inform me what age she is, but I'm going to assume that she's on the younger side. But this is how her letter goes. Dear Rafah, my sister often tells lies. She once told my boyfriend that I had gone off with another man, which was not true. She later admitted that she did this to break us up, and that she has always hated my boyfriend. He tells me that he also doesn't like her, but only tolerates her, only because she loves our baby so much. However, when she came to stay with us shortly after having an abortion, she was in a bad way, and my boyfriend was very kind to her. And recently she came to stay with us, and I found him sending her friendly messages. So why does he do that if he hates her? When I asked my sister whether he had kissed her, she was furious at the suggestion. And now she has told me that when she was staying at our house, she woke up to find him touching her inappropriately. She finishes off by saying, I have also been asleep and woken up on a couple of times to find him having sex with me, but I thought this was because we were close to each other. I really don't know what to think. So there are quite a few points here that are rather concerning, and I'd say that really the main issues is that if we've got a sister involved, we've got obviously her partner that she's got the problem with, and they've also got a baby, which doesn't actually make things very clear cut. And I personally feel that there are issues to do with trust, betrayal, and also for her keeping up the appearances with her sister and not being very honest as with her partner. So first let's take a couple of things here. What's interesting is you tell us that your sister has behaved in a way that has made you question her loyalty to you, and I would very much think that she actually is not being very loyal to you. Two things that indicate that is there seems to be a contradiction in her actually informing your boyfriend that you were seeing somebody else when that wasn't true, and who would really do that unless they were actually playing at something. And the other thing I would say also is the fact that when you had questioned her about being kissed by your boyfriend, you also felt that she had responded very furiously. And it sounds often when people do that, it could be the possibility of covering up. The answer is just too swift. So I am concerned that your sister maybe is not really speaking the truth, and while you have conversations with her, she's unable to stay with the truth, and you're unable to discern whether she is being true to you. So that leaves you with you actually discussing things with your boyfriend, your partner. Now, your partner's behavior also seems to be questionable. I think in some way that maybe he was being friendly to her under the circumstances of her being upset. But your sister has informed you that he has been touching her inappropriately. Now, you don't say whether you've actually questioned him about this and what his response was. And I'm a bit dubious also to know whether that was true or not, considering your sister had already fabricated a truth, or rather fabricated a situation about you, seeing somebody else to your boyfriend. I have a feeling that your sister is really being a meddler and a manipulator, and she's actually deliberately trying to create problems. She could be maybe not in the right state of mind right now, having had an abortion, and I would really recommend placing a boundary that you will find that could be very helpful for you. And that is because your boundaries are very loose here. I feel in some way that you have been accommodating your sister because she's your sister. And that's sometimes a very difficult thing to do, to cut off or to put a boundary on your sister. But I feel that you will need to actually keep her out of your home for a while till things settle down and yourself and your partner comes back to some kind of relating that is honest. My only concern about your boyfriend is you finish the letter off by actually saying that you've woken up on a couple of occasions and have noticed, or rather had woken up with him having sex. Now, I'm a bit kind of confused about this, because I can't understand how you could be asleep throughout the situation, and how come you haven't woken up, and to what extent the sex is. I mean, was he inside of you? You know, was he actually copulating? And I'm absolutely surprised, unless you're absolutely flat out and so dead tired, that you've not woken up to that. And that also informs me it's a boundary issue as well, because that means your solar plexus is very much out. Okay, solar plexus is where the powerhouse of our boundaries and our truth resides. So if you're not really speaking your truth or owning your power and being very clear in what you need, you are not coming from this place of strength. Okay, it is really important that you really understand that. And I would say for you that your biggest issue here is a boundary one, and to do with placing a barrier, if you like, one that's protective and one that's very needed, but who comes in and who doesn't come in. The other issue that I find also with you having is your throat chakra, because you're not really voicing anything to anybody that's really speaking your truth. You're having a conversation with your sister, and that's not getting anywhere. And you're also having a conversation with your partner, who seems to be contradicting and possibly saying one thing and the other. What you need to do actually is you need to make yourself very clear as to what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept, rather than actually challenging somebody about what they're doing. Now, because you have a baby, this makes it a quite tricky situation. I am also going to assume that you're quite of a younger age. Yeah, and I'm not quite sure why I'm picking that up. I have a feeling that you are actually a bit younger. Partly because it just seems very juvenile, all this situation that you have, that you're experiencing. I can't imagine somebody older in the 30s, late 30s, 40s, experiencing this, but that is not to say that that's not possible. So really, I would say what you really also need to do is seek counselling. I would really suggest that you start seeing a therapist or seek some professional help with your partner. And if your partner is unwilling to come, then definitely yourself, because really this is also a problem that you are having and that it's going to be ongoing, because I think there's some very deeper issues here. No one in the right mind would tolerate somebody having sex with somebody without consent. And while he is your boyfriend, he has no right to have sex, or even husband for that matter, to have consent, to have sex without your consent. And that is very, very important. Okay, women have a very skewed knowledge, sometimes with very grey shades about what's permissible and what have you. And I can assure you that despite your married, engaged girlfriend, if you do not want to have sex, you do not concede to having sex, you do not need to have sex. And that's that. Anything else is a man enforcing his will onto you. He may be blackmailing you or making you feel bad, or sort of telling you that, you're not supposed to, that he has a right because he's your boyfriend or girlfriend. Really, whichever way the sexes go, nobody has a right to demand any sexual exchange if that is not what you wish at this time. Okay, so that is really important, and that is a boundary issue. So you really need to focus on your solar plexus. Like I said, you need to speak up, so you need to make that really clear, and you tell him under no certain terms will you find him ever doing that again. All right, and I'm going to assume this because you've brought it up, and as you even say, but I thought it was because we were close. All right, now your thinking is not wrong to say that you were close, but it doesn't give him the right to do that. Yes, and like I said, your sister has now indicated that your partner has been touching inappropriately. Have you challenged him or spoken to him about this? And what is his reply? And that's what you need to find out. I can't really say for sure what your sister is, what she really is saying is true or not. That is something you're going to have to figure out yourself. But for the time being, I suggest to keep your sister out of the house, despite the fact that she's had an abortion and despite that she's not feeling very well. She might be able to turn to some other friends or even seek counsel herself, because that is a really big thing as well, to actually abort or end a life, and having to deal with the consequences of that, you know, at all times really, which is another topic altogether. So, Miss Anonymous, I would like to really be able to help you, and sounds like a really deep issue. So if you really need to get some strengthening exercises, I suggest that you look at the Vimeo video that we posted up to do with your chakra healing, which will help you to actually strengthen some of these core issues to do with your throat chakra, your powerhouse, and I'd also actually say your heart, because here we've got betrayal issues where you are also questioning your sister's loyalty, all right, and your partner's, which actually also indicate that your heart is confused, all right. You do need to bring your head issue with this, but your heart very much is going to be suffering from some kind of betrayal, because somebody's betraying you, okay. Like I said, I'll go to your doctor, maybe see if you can't afford a private counsellor or professional help. Definitely go and seek it through your doctor. And in the meantime, do look at the Vimeo, the meditation that is going to help you tune up your chakras, that's appropriately placed for you specifically, and anybody who's got issues about trust and betrayal to do in a partnership or a family member. All these chakras being tuned up is going to help you. So I hope you enjoyed this problems answered. I hope I have helped you answer the problem, but I think the first thing I'll do is definitely keep your sister out, keep the conversation going with the partner, you know, and as much as you can nurture your baby and yourself with all very positive things as well. Go for walks, go to, you know, to the sort of park and playground, and maybe speak to some other people as well, where you can actually feel that you've got some support network, and maybe even join a mummy's group where you can feel that you can also have some support with you as a new mother, and find your own community and keep your sister at bay till you can sort yourself out. All right, well, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for being here, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye for now.